Perfect.
Go. AI has begun. Yes.
Okay, I am going to open the meeting, September 6th Development Review Board. Do we have any visitors or public comments?
Negative.
Thank you. I do have an addition to the agenda. We need to approve the minutes of August 5. We had to defer that to have the right people. So we need to approve the minutes of the 5th, and that would be for Diane and John and me. So if someone would please make a motion to approve those minutes.
I move to approve the August 5th, 2024 minutes.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Diane. All in favor? Cheryl, aye.
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 Thank you. And now we need a motion, please, to approve the minutes of August 19, and that would be me, Charlie, and John. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is that Charlie?
That was Charlie. Charlie making a motion.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor? Cheryl, aye.
Aye.
Charlie, aye.
Thank you so much, guys. Okay. So moving on, we're going to open the hearing on application 2024-170. Are there people in the room for this?
Hermitage? Yep, come on up.
Yeah, go on up, please. So the property address is Gatehouse Trail and Coldbrook Road intersection. The owner is the Hermitage Members Club. And we have Aaron and we have Andrea. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So the proposal is Coldbrook Slope stabilization in the Resort Commercial Residential District and Flood Hazard Zone. The applicable code sections are Article 2, Section 221, 222, 223, 224, 226, 227, 228, 271, and 272. Article 4, Section 420, 440, and 450F. Article 6, Section 602, 603, 606, and 610K. And Article 7, Section 708, 720, 721, 730G and I. Members of the board, are there any conflicts of interest or ex parte discussions?
No.
Nope.
No.
Thank you. And so Aaron and Andrea, you're going to be giving testimony, correct? Is their microphone turned on?
Oh, can you make sure that little
Push
button?
that.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you so much. We got to record you guys. So would you please raise your right hand, both of you? Do you swear the testimony you provide is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we like to have one of us be sort of the case manager, and Charlie is our guy for this. So you go, Charlie.
Great. Thank you. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Okay, before we get started, we're just going to go through a couple things. So we essentially use a draft application that we draw up to roll through all the articles. So I'll ask you guys questions and either give us an explanation or just affirm yes or no. Great. Okay, so for board members, we're going to start with the exhibits. Exhibit 1 is the cover sheet. Exhibit 2 is the warning. Exhibit 3 is the application, 3 pages. Exhibit 4 is the project summary, 3 pages. Exhibit 5 is the location map. Exhibit 6, layout and construction plan. Exhibit 7, impact exhibits. Exhibit 8, details exhibit. Exhibit 9, email from Ned Swanberry from Vermont Agency of Natural Resources. I think that's it. 7 pages, email from VHB Engineering, 2 pages. flood zone map 11, 12, slopes protection and wall detail, and 13 is the abutters list. Great. So before we get going, can you just give us a summary on the project?
Sure,
One of you
happy to
guys
do
can
that.
figure it out.
Sure. So I have brought an exhibit here with me. Happy to point to it. I will point to it just for my own benefit, but I'm looking at the layout and construction plan. So as a result of the flooding that occurred in July 2023 and December 2023, the undersized culverts that cross under Gatehouse Trail were inundated, and aggregated material on the right-hand stream bank built up and increasing the power of the stream on the left-hand side, thus
Sorry,
chewing
can I
away
interrupt you? The thing you're looking at is
the
our
layout and
last one,
construction
one of our
plan.
last ones, right? But
Excuse
I
me.
marked, okay, yep. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. So as a result of the aggregated material and the inundation of those culverts, there was increased stream power to the bank that supports the Hermitage Club sign and Cold Brook Road, which then resulted in destabilizing that slope. So several cubic yards of material were lost, approximately along 90 linear feet of the stream. So the proposed solution or temporary solution fix is to do implement a stacked rock wall. Hermitage Club, Aaron here and myself met with the DEC Rivers Program, Josh Carvajal to be exact, on site earlier this summer, and he was prepared to issue a next flood measure permit through the stream alteration program, which is an emergency permit they issue for flood relief projects. He did let us know there were other permits we would need to obtain as well, including the Town of Wilmington zoning permit, Army Corps permits, and any wetland permits that may be required. So we have obtained an Army Corps permit as well for this work for impacts below ordinary high water. We do have some temporary and permanent impacts to the Class 2 wetland buffer that is on site. And our 1272 order was issued for that due to the emergency nature of the project and not having to go through the Vermont wetlands procedure to get a permit there for those impacts. And we are here for the Town of Wilmington permit, and that's the last one we need to get before we can start this work and ideally complete it during this low flow period.
Great. Board, does anyone have any questions on the summary or exhibits before we go ahead?
No.
Nope. Great.
No.
So Article 2 is pretty easy. It's just all about administrative procedures, the role of the development review board. So we received all the exhibits, so they were collected and verified. Section 227 regards to plan changes after receiving a development review board decision. So any substantial alterations or material change as the zone determined by the zoning administrator to a plan approved by the DRB shall require reapplication review by the DRB. Substantial alterations or material change means any change to a permitted development plan approved by the DRB, which may have significant adverse impact on any findings, conclusion, term, or condition. For minor non-substantial changes not involving substantial change in site plan, design, or other change, the zoning administrator may issue a zoning permit. Great. Section 272 just refers to what we are now, a public hearing to address the zoning applications. Section 227 is about who may attend and be heard at a public hearing. Are there any interested parties here for the Hermitage case? Great, moving right along. Okay, so Article 4 is district and uses. So the Hermitage Club is in the resort commercial residential district, correct? Thank you. And the primary use is resort. And okay, any questions on district, anyone? Nope, uses, nope. Great. Okay, Article 6 is flood hazard districts. So section 602 just refers to the land which the regulations apply. Section 603 is while we're here is development permit required to be permitted by the DRB for anything to proposals that minimize potential flood damage, any public facilities and utilities such as sewer, gas, electric, and water systems are constructed. as to minimize flood damage and adequate drainage. So this project is to eliminate the flood threat, correct?
Correct.
You said before temporary. Is this project temporary or is this a permanent project?
This is a permanent fix. There's a plan in the future to replace the undersized culverts, which are the root cause of the
Okay.
problem.
So this is a permanent fix, but in the future you'll come back for the culverts.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, I just got to write that down. I try not to use paper because I'll lose it.
Culverts, they probably won't have to come back because it's not land development, it's gonna be dealt with roads, most likely.
Okay, perfect. Okay, section 606 is conditional uses, except for the permanent uses defined in section 605. All their uses defined for the zoning district that fall within a designated flood hazard area may be permanent upon granting a conditional use permit for the Development Review Board. Cheryl,
Yep.
what's the conditional use for this?
I'm not entirely sure there is a conditional use. I put it in there just to be sure. I believe the permanent, because as Andrea said, even though this is a temporary fix now, when they do the culvert, it will be permanent. So I think the section's been met because there is no conditional use.
Great. Thank you. There we go. We're cruising right along then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Section 610 is development standards. Before a permit may be granted, Development Review Board should require the development to meet the following standards: water course carrying capacity, the flood carrying capacity within any altered or relocation portion of a water course shall be maintained. Is it being maintained?
Correct. Yes, it
Okay.
is.
And they also on that part, or can just say it's being maintained?
It's being maintained.
Water course is
and
above mine.
The water course is not being further constricted than the existing condition. Per Ned Swanberg, female.
Great. Anyone have any questions on flood hazard?
No,
No, thank you.
It's a pretty easy one.
yeah.
Yep.
Thorough.
Article 7 is standard. So in this article, I have to ask you questions. You just got to confirm yes or no on something. Great. So section 08. Again, Cheryl, why is it non-conforming use?
Well, again, because it's not something that we ordinarily look at, again, that's why I put in a non-conforming use. And again, it is going to be a final fix. So I think again, we can say the section is met.
Fantastic. Okay, cruising right along. Section 721, general standards. In all districts, all conditional use development shall protect from undue adverse effects. No land development or use shall result in undue adverse impact on any of the following: A, the capacity of existing or planned community, municipal or educational facilities. B, traffic on roads and highways. E, air quality. F, character of the area. The character, aesthetic, scenic value of the neighborhood and area affected is defined by the purpose or purposes of the zoning district within the project is located in specifically stated policies, standards of this ordinance and town plan. So there's no changes to the roadway or anything like that, correct? And where's the construction being done? On the gatehouse side? Is there anything going out to Coldbrook?
Coldbrook roadside.
Okay.
That's where the erosion is.
And during, just so we can put it in here, what will the hours of construction, will Coldbrook have to be closed?
No,
No?
it will not impact travel on the road at all.
Great.
So again, I put that in because of the character of the area, just to be sure that there was not going to be anything impacting the road or anything like that.
Nope.
And you look at the next one, it's there specifically for the water. The land and water management.
Oh, yes, okay. I was like, wait. So section 30, conditional use specific standards. Land and water management, protect properties, transportation systems, and public safety by A, safe and appropriate water management, including water supply availability, stormwater retention, and impervious surface and runoff management, prevent and control against water pollution, make provisions for management of erosion, preservation of rivers and streams, river stream bank management, wetland protection, waterway, and channels management, agricultural land protection. So are there any no changes to what we already talked about this, right? No changes to land, to the water?
Correct.
Yep. Anything that's outside of the scope from what it was before?
Nope.
No.
Great. Then natural resources and features, existing vegetation, natural species, native trees, scenic views, river access, and all other natural features shall be preserved to the extent possible, to the extent that they will enhance and promote the natural assets of the town. Clearing of land to create pasture land and scenic spaces, vistas is allowed, provided it does not have an unreasonable impact on natural resources. Development shall blend with the topography, vegetation, and natural land resources. So you're not changing anything. Anything you tear out would be replaced? Any trees or anything like that coming out?
No.
Correct. I don't believe there's any tree clearing as part of this.
Great. Okay. Cheryl, Diane, John, do you guys have any questions?
No, sounds like necessary work.
Yep.
Gotta do it.
Yeah. Right. Just a replacement. So perfect. If you guys don't have any questions for us, Cheryl, I turn the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. So thank you, Andrea and Aaron, for coming in, and we will close this hearing at 5:16. Thank you, and have a fun time playing in the water.
Thank you.
So we have 45 days to get you a decision, but we've been pretty fast lately. So
Yeah,
it goes to Cheryl and then it goes back over to Jessica. Great.
very good.
Thank you. We
Thank
had so
you.
many questions. I don't think it'll
Appreciate
take
your
long.
And if you guys have any questions, please reach out to Jessica. She can help you with anything, but we will, as Charlie said, we'll get the decision to Jessica and she will get it out to you right away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would you guys like this plan for anything?
Was that?
Would you
Nope.
like this plan for anything?
No, thank
No,
you. We're
your
good.
Exhibits were
Yep.
good.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right.
So thank you all. It's at 5:17. I'm going to open the hearing on application 2024-172. The property address is 874 Vermont Route 100 North. The owner is Cozy Vermont Properties LLC, Chris Brown. Chris, are you in the room?
He's on
I am
Zoom.
here.
Oh, is he on Zoom?
He's
Yes.
at
I'm
soccer
I'm on
practice.
Zoom. Can you hear me?
Oh, there he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, so were you able to bring the 7 copies in so that the rest of the people could have that last plan that you had?
No, Jess said you said Jess was gonna do that.
Okay, well then they probably don't have it. Jessica, do you have that? I know I do, but I'm not sure if they do.
What the last,
Do you
set a
have,
separate,
I'm referring to? Hold on, let me get the right,
yeah,
Yeah.
move on.
Cheryl, we have,
Cheryl, I emailed it to you. Remember?
Right,
Yep,
yep, we have
it's in
it.
your packets.
okay, super, thank you. So, all right, so this is a change of use to manufacturing, which is a cabinet maker. You are retaining the storage use. There's going to be, Chris, is it really a golf stimulator or is that a simulator?
Golf simulator, no
Yeah.
T.
I thought that was a typo, so we'll take the T out of that. And you're going to have also office use, plus there are going to be new structures, a lean-to, a deck, a barn, and a shed with retail as a roadside product stand. This is all in the commercial residential district. The applicable code sections are Article 2, Section 221, 222, 223, 224, 226, 227, 271, and 272. Article 4, Section 420, 440, 450E, and Article 7, Section 710, 720, 721, 722, 730D, FH, and John, thank you for including J. So are there any conflicts of interest or any parts of discussions with the board?
No,
Okay, thank you. Chris, are you the only person who's going to be the witness for this? Chris,
What's that?
are
Sorry.
you, are you going to be the only witness?
I suppose.
You
Do I
have no one else going to be there answering questions?
No, just me.
Okay, so Chris, would you please raise your right hand?
It's raised.
Cheryl,
Cheryl, hold on a second.
I think there might be other people in the room that may want to testify.
Okay,
No?
who is in the room, please?
We don't even know what's going on. Okay.
Are you guys here for this case or for another case? Okay, okay. We have a butters here.
So if you do want to testify at all, you need to be sworn in.
Testify?
We'll give
Or
any
make
information.
Comment or
Yeah,
feedback.
comments, thoughts.
I want to say a few things, yeah.
Yep, so raise your right hand.
Wait a minute, before you do that, may I have the
Okay,
names?
Lori raised her hand.
names?
Yes,
Robert Stone,
Robert Stone.
is that it? Just Robert Stone?
Nope.
Janet Boyd. And Danny Boyd.
And all of you are going to be testifying?
Yes, there are butters.
All right, so Chris and Danny Boyd, Robert Stone and Janet Boyd, will you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you provide is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. So, as you just heard, if you were there for the earlier one, we have one of our members particularly be the case manager and run through things. The rest of us will ask questions. So John Gannon has agreed to be the case manager for this case. So I will turn this over to John. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Cheryl. So first, I'm going to just read through the exhibits for this case. Exhibit 1 is the Town of Wilmington cover sheet. Exhibit 2 is the Town of Wilmington warning. Exhibit 3 is the application, 11 pages. Exhibit 4 is the service list, and Exhibit 5 is the floor plan of the existing building.
Wait, I
Hey,
can't
Chris.
hear.
Chris,
Chris, turn your speaker.
Chris, hold on, Chris, would you please mute
Off.
yourself so we do not hear your soccer practice?
Yes.
Well, this is about when he's supposed to explain.
You're going through exhibits, right?
Well, I just went through the exhibits.
All of them? Okay.
Yeah, there aren't too many. So now I was going to ask the applicant to briefly explain the application.
Okay. Is that me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the existing structure will basically stay intact. Couple modifications to it. So if you look at the doors, the far left one would be the manufacturing one. There's a local cabinet maker that would be going in there and fabricating his cabinets, as well as storing them, I guess. And then the next 3 bays will all be storage, equipment storage, mostly equipment and material storage. So that really goes unchanged for the most part, other than the manufacturing in the left bay. And then the upper office space, which was an office space, will be, we're going to raise the roof essentially 8 feet on the far ends. So basically the roof will be raised about 6 feet. So it's 2 stories right now, and it still will be 2 stories. We're really just raising the roof a little bit so we can get some more use out of that space upstairs. In that space upstairs, there will be, the plan is to have 2 golf simulators and a couple of office spaces. That's pretty much it. Oh, I guess the lean-to on the back of the building would be simply for storage. The deck, I would hardly even call it a deck, really. It's just an entryway, really, small, just to get into the building on the backside. The pole barn was to be for storage as well in the back right-hand corner of the lot. And then the retail, I forget what we called it, but the 20 by 10 structure would be portable. The farm stand, I guess, is what we called it, would be, movable, portable, for some type of retail structure, nothing set in stone yet. I think that's it.
Okay. Just so I'm looking at this document. So I just want to make sure. So on the left hand, you said the cabinet maker is already on the left hand side of this existing building, correct?
Correct.
Then there's the next 2 spaces are storage.
The next 3, actually. Yep.
All right. Well, I guess I'm a little confused because I see tenant space, tenant space, tenant space, and then a common space.
Common space. Well, I'm not quite sure. There are 4 bays. I suppose we might have. Yeah.
I am looking, just so you understand, Chris, I am looking at the document that was sent to us separately from the application.
And it says proposed first floor plan, proposed second floor plan.
Okay. So I suppose what you'll have to do is so when we sent the plans for the second one, that was mainly for the upper part. So probably what the architect did on that was just kind of, I guess, label the lower section just as common space. If you were to look at the first document, that probably has well, no, I'm not sure, because he probably wouldn't have even done anything with that, because all the lower was basically, pre-existing. Space is mostly the same.
I see that.
We did put a wall up inside. Yeah, it should be 4 spaces downstairs. 4 garage spaces.
So this is existing. You're just dividing it differently, is that it? Or you're
correct? Yeah, I mean,
it
was all existing. It's just
not changing the footprint.
Divided.
You're just raising.
not changing footprint at all.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. Sure. Go ahead, Jessica. I have a lot of questions.
I just want to point out in your storage spaces where you have storage warehouse, and I'm looking bored at this paper right here where it has everything out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're renting storage space and warehousing space, is that correct?
Correct.
So Chris, I'm going to ask you right now, there are 2 definitions in our zoning ordinances, one for warehouses and one for storage.
Right.
And you have to choose.
Okay, I was unaware of that. Jess and I kind of talked, and she said, well, would you be doing this? And I said, yeah, kind of. And would you be doing this? Yeah, kind of. So we put both of them on there.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say this, there's the manufacturing one on the far left.
I got that one.
And then the other 3, I looked at those definitions, and it seemed like it was a little bit of each of them. Mostly just storage, but,
Well, I have to choose one.
Okay, storage then.
Okay, so there's storage. Okay, good. That solves the problem. So let's just briefly talk about the movable food stand retail space that will be closer to Route 100.
Yep.
He has a different dimension. This says 20 by 14. He just says 20 by 20.
Where is this? Old barn building?
These are all existing.
Well, let's deal with the farm stand first. The farm stand's going close to Route 100. It'll be the most visible new structure on the property.
Oh.
So I guess there's a discrepancy between the measurements.
This is confusing.
Yeah, two things that I have on that. On his paperwork, it says 20 by 14 foot or 14. And it doesn't, he said farm stand, but it's not a farm stand because he's not selling items there. It's actually gonna be retail stand is how I would issue the permit. But he just said it was 20 by 10. So we need to know, is it 20 by 10 or 20 by 14?
It's
And then
whatever it
also-
says on the paper.
Well, it's,
It says 20 by 14 on the paper. And then also what I need to know,
we'll
gonna
go with
need a
that.
location in order to administrate. I can't just have it moving all over the lot.
Yeah.
We'd have to have.
Is
it
this like an
location.
unconditioned just shed or that you're doing retail in?
Yes, I mean, it'll be, slightly weatherproofed. Yeah, I mean, think farm stand, I guess, you build a little shed, put it on some wheels, throw some electrical in there, more or less.
So it's movable?
Movable, yes. But I can pick a spot.
So, Chris, where exactly is the farm stand?
That would be somewhere close to Route 100. I suppose if you're looking at the property just to the left of the sign that is currently there.
like,
The pit stop sign?
Correct.
and then.
So when we talk about that, we need to kind of have a better understanding of,
Well, our
where-
problem is that there's no photos. We have no idea what we're looking at. Yeah,
or the location.
I went on Google Maps and it still doesn't help because it's a big white
He's showing a hand sketch where he puts a 20 by 50 farm stand close.
Okay, I could describe it, but if you don't have a picture, I guess that's not gonna do much good. Correct.
And what I wanted to just point out is that this is not a farm stand. I can't permit a farm stand, so make sure you use the right term there. It's gonna be temporary retail,
Temporary
or
retail
it could just be
stand.
regular retail, right?
Retail stand.
So it's gonna be retail, not a
Re-
farm stand, retail.
Retail. Retail.
Okay, retail.
What is he selling?
What are you selling?
What are you selling in your retail stand?
What's that?
What will you be selling in your retail stand?
I don't know at this present time. Do I need to?
Helpful.
You will need to, because if there's a change in retail, it might be change of use.
So,
are-
okay. So let's ask another question, Chris. How long are you intending to use the stand or retail space in a given year?
Probably, I would guess just the warmer months. Haven't
Okay.
really thought about it, but
Okay, because our zoning ordinances are very specific about how many months you're using it, because that determines whether it's temporary retail or not temporary retail.
okay, then do you know those off the top of your head? I mean,
I can get
I
to
would
them.
say temporary.
Hold on, let me scroll down into my stuff. Okay, so temporary outdoor retail operating less than or equal to 4 days per calendar year is allowed without a zoning permit. temporary outdoor retail of 5 days or up to 2 months per calendar year requires a zoning permit from the zoning administrator. Retail of greater than 2 months is not considered temporary and requires a written decision of the design.
All right, so I would say it was probably the last one there.
Okay, so it's not temporary.
Okay,
Good.
fair enough.
Cheryl, can I make a suggestion to you guys?
Yes,
That maybe it's good to pause this and do a site visit. And if it goes to site visit, I will have to recuse because I don't have any more time in the next 2 months.
Can we remove that portion of it and just go ahead with the rest of it?
You know, Cheryl, there's a number of things missing from this application. For example, parking. There's no footage for the parking area. I have no ability to determine whether there'll be enough parking there. There's no setbacks that have been identified. I'm not sure what the heights of all the roofs are going to be. So there are a number of challenges in writing a decision for this project.
All of that stuff should have been on the application. Setback,
So-
roof.
okay, so Chris, let's, I realize
Yeah.
that you're not in a place where you have this in front of you. But we, as John just said, so we do have, you have something that shows, I mean, it's a handwritten thing that shows the sizes and things. I mean, we can take off the retail and not, but that means you would have to come back. Either probably because it's retail, it's a change of use. So you got to think about what we're doing here is, you know, you've been kind of down the road already with this, but so we have to talk about uses, setbacks, parking is involved. There's so much involved. And we do have some of the information, but I don't really see a whole lot here, as John said, with setbacks. I see first floor, but I don't see a real setback plan. And when you're talking about if we want to continue to keep the retail in, you'd put it by the sign, but we don't have any actual definition of where that would be. We have an elevation. And I think if you look at the elevation, John, you can see the footage, you know, the height of the,
Yeah.
so if you look at that, it gets, but I'm not really, I'm not sure that, as John said, we have what we need to go forward. We do have some information, but I
But
feel we
what
have a lot
specifically,
of-
I mean, if we take the retail part out of it, the retail spot, what else do you need? Because I drew a diagram with all the setbacks at 4 different, or at all the different places. So that should have been on the application.
No,
I remember doing a diagram with the roof height.
So John, let's
Well,
look,
I mean, I vividly remember, and Jess looked over it. She said, "No, you have everything you need." So I mean,
so let's
I-
go back
I
over.
know
the
there were setbacks that-
exhibits, and let's say.
Cheryl, hold on
exactly
one second.
Hold on.
Which exhibit?
Jared, just give a
Hold on.
one pause for 1 moment.
Well, we're not pausing. We're continuing.
Well, the case manager would like everyone to stop talking for 1 moment.
Okay, John.
We'll look to the exhibit. Thank you.
All right, I mean, we can, you know, Chris, it's not very easy with you being in the middle of a soccer game and us trying to go through this case. And not being able to point to exhibits and help us get through this.
The other thing, I mean,
In the, you know, the parking.
I mean, I have a screen. You can put it.
there's a 20, he's proposing a 20 by 15 structure. We have no idea what it looks like.
There was a spot with, I'm not sure if you have
be
every diagram
visible.
parking.
I have a
Yeah.
square that's a parking area. I have no footage. I don't know if it's 2 feet by 2 feet or 100 feet by 100 feet.
No, I just have a 1 inch.
It was enough for, off the top of my head, I think it was 9 or 11 spaces or something like that.
I know.
It was all pre-existing.
it's a little hard to like make a decision on something that we have no idea what it's gonna look like either from Route 100. I mean, that counts for something.
It's virtually going to look exactly the same.
As what? This is a new
You're
structure.
building new structures, so how can it be exactly the
It's
same?
not going to be exactly the same, but it's it's raising, the roof about 6 to 8 feet, at different points. It's
We're not
more or
talking-
less the same.
So,
Not the existing building.
It's not
Chris,
the
I'm
same.
sorry,
No, it's
not
not
the
the same.
existing, we're not talking about the existing building. I'm talking about the not farm stand.
Right. I thought we weren't talking about that anymore because you don't have pictures.
Hey, are we
That was kind of an add-on. That's why it was like, what can I do with the space? If that never happened, I would be totally fine with it.
So are we agreeing that that's not gonna be part of this?
Correct. That could be a different,
I got that.
We're out, that's out.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
We're out of that.
so I'm not sure what exhibit number it is, but we do have the elevations, which show the existing and the new, which shows the addition on the unit E with the height on that. So we go from a 20-foot roof line to a 28-foot.
Okay,
Correct.
yeah, I see that, Cheryl, but is that the lean-to, the pole barn, or what?
no, that's the existing structure building.
And where are the designs for the pole barn, the lean-to, and that? So I can have some sort of idea of their height.
Right, is the pole barn existing?
Those were just drawn on the main structure, I would say. The pole barn is not existing.
Yeah, so there's a 60 by 15 lean-to, which we don't have
Correct.
the elevation for, or the setbacks that I can easily read. We have the 4x4 deck, that's not a problem. 20 by 20 pole barn. We don't have the elevation, or at least I don't know what the elevation is, or the setbacks. Then we're taking off the shed style farm stand retail. So that's good. And then,
Now I'm hearing there's a new pole barn being built?
yes, there's a pole barn.
But okay, we don't have any information on that either.
Well, we have this little drawing.
No. Yeah.
Which,
This is incomplete.
so those are the issues. Those are some of the issues. And then it's the parking. There's nothing on the parking. And we have specific regulation about the number of spaces that you need. And you say there's 9 to 11 spaces. It can't be
Well,
9.
they were all pre-existing. This parking was pre-existing. It was already in as the use of the building. I wasn't changing those at all. So whatever it was approved for before is what it would be now. As far as the pole barn and the lean-to, if you want to take those off as well, I'd be fine with that. Really, the biggest thing that I need is the height addition to the structure. That's the main thing that I'm
sorry,
concerned
Chris.
with.
Chris, I think that the frustration level has gotten to the point where we need to continue. We need more information. We really need to have some more actual paperwork so that we can see where the parking spaces are, how many parking spaces there are. I don't think that just dropping things out of your plan is appropriate. You wanted to have a pole barn. If you want to make that many changes in your application, I believe you're going to have to come in with a new application. I'm not suggesting that we have to get more money, but I think we'll need a new application or we can continue. I would like to suggest, I don't know, Charlie, I heard you say that you've got scheduling issues.
If this isn't gonna be continued, then I'm gonna recuse because I don't have the time.
So does that mean you're not going to be available on October 7th, which would be our next?
It's exactly what it means.
So before we go any farther, may we have a little housekeeping? Diane and John, are you available on October 7th?
Hold on.
Yeah, I might be remote, but yeah,
Diane, you're available on the 7th?
yeah,
October 2nd?
7.
7th.
Sorry.
Our
Yeah.
next regular meeting and hearing is
No,
October
I-
7th. So we can continue this till October 7th and ask the applicant to give us the information that we have all these questions on prior to the 7th, provided Diane and John, you are available.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to continue this hearing. I'm sorry, Chris, but we're not getting the information we need. I want to be sure that Jessica, you're aware of exactly what we are missing so that you can get that to the applicant. I don't think he's probably in a good position to make some notes. Thank you, Charlie. We will recuse you from this and we will continue this to October 7th. It will be we will have it as the first hearing. I know you've done the warning, but it's okay. Since it's a continuation, it will be the first.
Right, and we have some parties who have their hands raised, Cheryl. I don't know if you
Okay,
want to make their comments.
absolutely. Please, who wishes to speak?
Since she's on Zoom, do you mind coming up here?
And you have to come up to the microphone because we have to record.
I literally despise it. First of all, is this been?
Sorry, you gotta wait till you're at the microphone.
What?
You gotta wait till you're by the microphone.
And
Okay.
please,
Now you can talk.
will you please
Has this been
identify,
surveyed?
would you please
property?
identify
We
yourself?
don't have any information in the application about that.
Well, 15 years ago in this room, there was a state hearing here about the prior owner of this property. And he had a bunch of junk there and other equipment. And he was notified and told to remove all that and to plant trees along my property line to mask that. Of course, like everything else in state, nothing was ever followed up on. And Mr. and Mrs. Steele were here at that meeting, and it was a state hearing. I don't know, I'm sure he's passed by now. But anyway, that old barn that he's talking about putting in or whatever it is, there's a sign there that says welcome to Wilmington. Is that gonna be, that property's not very wide.
The welcome to Wilmington sign is not on that
So
property.
I don't know, I'm not trying to renege his business there. I'd like to see small owners take it, but he's clear cut all the trees up to my property line now, which were junk. They were nothing to be planted. The guy just basically ignored us. And so I'm asking if maybe something could be done there in that, because for now, I can see the pit stop, whatever you want to call it now, from my house. Which is probably 300 and some feet away. So, I mean, other than that, I have really no objections to what he's doing. So,
Okay, so as I understand, you are Robert Stone and you have said that you are not happy with the fact that the current owner, Chris Brown, has cut trees down, but he does not need permission to cut those trees.
I didn't say he was. I have no qualms about him cutting the trees. I'm just saying it's all clear cut now. And I can see the pit stop from my house, and there were supposed to have trees there. And of course, junk trees grew up, which he cut, which is fine. There were nothing but poplars and trash.
Right.
And of course, if you never have any history about the pit stop, there's a lot of stuff that's buried there.
So it was creating a sort of a natural
My,
screen.
my in-laws
screen
used
for
to
you.
own that whole property. And I remember very well the pit stop. What went on there, there's a
No,
lot of oil and stuff was dumped and everything else over the years.
No, I'm trying to understand though, all that screening, that natural screening is gone now. So is that the real issue is now your sort of, this property is,
And he also said that those trees were part of a permit
yeah.
10 years ago or how many?
15 years ago.
Well,
So that.
Sorry, I know you couldn't hear me, Cheryl. What I wanted to say is,
Of trees that were
I
there,
know
that were,
we make a deal.
let's let Diane speak.
I'm trying to understand. What I'm hearing is that there was a natural buffer and there was actually one that was
One that
established.
was supposed to be
That
there,
was
it never was.
supposed to be there as part of an earlier decision. And now that's gone. And it's,
That's what I also heard, Diane.
so.
But we would have to go back to find that, we can try to do some history on that again. But at this point, we don't have that information. I just see a nice shot of the sky. Chris, are you replying to Mr.
Yeah,
Stone?
I'm here.
Chris?
I'm Mr. Stone. How are you? I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me? Yep,
Yes.
right here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we all
Yes.
can hear you.
All right. Hi,
Chris
Mr.
is
Stone.
talking
How
to
are you?
Okay, you're a minute.
Chris is talking to you.
What about it?
Yep. Yeah, I heard everything that he said.
He probably knew nothing of this whole deal. Sure he did.
I did not know anything of the whole deal with buffer trees and anything like that. Simply was trying to clean the property up a little bit. I did look through some of the old documents and didn't see anything that went along with anything like that. So that would be news to me.
I'm sure it is. I thought Mrs. Steele would be here today, but she's not. The other butter,
The other butter?
because they were the other ones in the complaint when the other gentleman owned it. And he's since passed. Bill.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Jessica.
Was that, you said it was a state, is that an Act 250 permit? Who was the agency who issued that?
Was the environmental something coming? He come down here and he had all the authority of the government and everything, and he mandated it and be done. And of course, it never was followed up.
I mean, I will research that in my policy if I can find it.
It must have been probably around 15 years ago, I would say.
Was that 15 years ago, Mr. Stone?
1-5. yeah.
1-5, thank you. So we may be able to find something on that in the records. But in the meantime, thank you for being there and testifying. We appreciate that. Is there anyone else who wants to testify before I continue
Yes.
the hearing?
Yes, yes.
Joanne, sorry, Janet, Janet, who I know very well, would like to say something.
Janet, would you like to come up, please, and speak into
She's
the
sitting down
microphone?
right now.
Chris, congratulations. We're always glad when somebody comes in and cleans up some buildings.
Thank you.
I will say 46, 47 years ago, there's a lot of buyers on that building, Chris, and most have walked away because of the environmental impacts. I don't know. I never followed it close enough. I wouldn't be surprised if it's part of this Act 250. But, and I don't think it's going to impact any golfers or some storage stuff, but there was a lot of stuff dumped on that property, a lot of bad stuff. And it really stopped, you know, Chadwick, Ruprecht, Fernot, Bill Scheib got out of there. I mean, there were a lot of people who walked away. because of what they were gonna be up against. So if you're doing a farm stand, more power to you, but I hope you're not growing the food there.
Absolutely not. That's your job.
Well, you just, I don't know, watch what you dig, watch the kids, check out the Act 250. I just think there's probably some stuff there you need to know about. But we would love to see the building cleaned up and another business. So, thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Thanks, Janet.
We appreciate it. I will note, though, that that is hearsay, but we can certainly look through the records and see if there is anything. Chris, I would definitely listen to, even though it's hearsay, maybe see if we can find something about that. But anyhow, thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak? Danny, does he want to speak?
Okay, thank you. Other than that, Chris, all the best.
Okay, so I am going to, we will continue this hearing, Chris. I want to be sure that you understand that we are continuing it because we, the DRB members, have the need for additional information. Jessica will be able to provide you with that because, as we know, you're not making notes out there. If you have any questions, please talk to Jessica, but we will need to have additional information. John, if you could perhaps make sure that Jessica is aware of exactly what it is we're looking
Yes.
for
I don't know what you
so
mean.
that we can get everything we need. And this will be continued until October 7th.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Charlie,
Sorry I wasn't a little more prepared.
thank you. So
Thanks.
we are continuing this hearing. This is at 5:56 and moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, thank you all. Appreciate everybody's work on that one. So now we have continued that. And we need to now open the hearing. Is there anyone in the room? I'm sorry, I'm babysitting. Is there anyone in the room for our next hearing?
Can I interrupt real quick? I apologize. And this is, I know we already went through that case, but Jessica, I jumped on A&R real quick. And there is stuff on here. There's something from this year about a Ford Mustang submerging right side up 4 feet below the pond surface.
So, okay, Charlie, you've recused. Thank you so much. And we will let
just doing a
Jessica
search.
get involved with that. But thank you, Charlie.
I was just making a comment, Cheryl.
I hear you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Sorry you're not going to be around on the 7th.
I am. I'll be with guests, but thank you very much.
Okay, so going on to our next application, is there someone in the room or on Zoom?
Everybody's here.
Oh, great. Okay. So we're going to open the hearing and this is 5:58. I have to say these things because I'm doing the minutes. Opening the hearing on application 2024-208. Property address is 33 Stonebrook Road. And the owner is, and I apologize if I am mispronouncing, Dandan Zhu.
Don Zhu, yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a short-term rental use in 4 units, each with 2 bedrooms for a total of 8 bedrooms on the parcel. The applicable code sections are Article 2, Section 221, 222, 223, 224, 226, 227, 271, and 272. Article 4, Section 420, 440, 450C. Article 7, Section 710, 720, 721, 722, 730, A, D, and H. Are there any conflicts of interest or ex parte discussions with the board?
Nope.
No.
And are you the only person who's going to be giving testimony?
Yes.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you provide is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Diana Bate is going to be our case manager for this, so I'll turn it over to you, Diane. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Hi. Good.
All right, I'm gonna go through the exhibits first. Exhibit 1, cover letter, exhibit 2, the warning, exhibit 3, the 3-page application, exhibit 4, I've got your short-term rental, safety, health sheet. I've got exhibit 5, which consists of, I'm only at 5 pages of site plans and tax ID information. Exhibit 6, he's got a floor plan. It looks like pieces of a septic design. Exhibit 8 is a hand-drawn site plan showing parking. And I've got 9 pages or 8 pages of I'm calling it exhibit 9. It's just website info on the units. Okay. All right. So starting with the administrative section of this, again, this is just so you understand why you're in front of the DRB. This is all sort of administrative. You're here because you're doing a short-term rental. And we have all what appears to be so far a complete application. If there's any changes, you'll have to come back to the DRB. And do you have any questions about the administrative piece of this?
No.
We usually we're allowed up to 45 days. Again, we try to make our decision sooner than that. But that is part of the admin. All right. You want to just give me a little summary of what you're doing and
Yeah. So it's a fairly humble property that I spent a lot of time and effort over the years, just getting it from what it was. It started off as a long-term rental, and I had, a very long-term tenant there. I personally stayed quite a bit in one of the better units and furnished it. And then it came to my mind, eventually, I was struggling to have the money to basically get it better. There's a lot of work. I mean, if you saw the original shape it was in, it was really bad, especially the bottom 2 units. And unfortunately, my long-term tenant did flood the bottom unit that I was also trying to fix. So even though I had spent money, it was all destroyed. So I just was kind of at the end of my rope, and I was like, I really need to find a way to survive. And basically just slowly over the years, one by one, just working a lot on the weekends, building a network out here, just slowly getting it to where it is today. So and then the other day, a couple of months ago, I was here and I passed by this very building and there was a sign that said, coming here, STR license. I was like, that's like beautiful fate. And I made sure I signed up as soon as I found out. And Jessica's been helping me ever since, just kind of figure out this process. So I have a few just kind of additional things that I wanted to make sure to help understand. There's a lot of parking out front. It's a very, good place and it's very well run.
you want to
Sure. Yeah, sure. And this is just like the main ones. The rest is all like my vendors who I work with. And then these are just fun. It's just like some pictures of properties. I know you mentioned it would be helpful to see because the listing photos didn't really have many of those. Maybe for reasons we don't want to give many clues. And also the dumpster. I do have a bare lid, all of that. I want to make sure you guys saw because obviously that's a big concern. It's like trash. And so that's good. And then these are the 4, I just had additional 4 pictures.
We should put the application file out.
And this is all for people to check.
I'm just looking at the application and you have your continuance of the same use not permitted, continued, that's your alleged violation. Is that you want to comment on that, or is that? Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. And this is just a straightforward,
Yes, we talked on the phone. I put my initials there because I wrote that for her. She just, she didn't know what to ask for. What she's asking for is short-term rental use to cure a violation.
all right. Great. All right. So let's start with section 420 for districts and uses. You are in a residential area which allows short-term rental. Now I'm going to just take you through section, are there any questions so far from the group? No? Okay.
Nope.
Keep moving. So Article 7 is use performance and standards and conditional uses, and I'm going to go through just a series of sort of boilerplate questions, and you can respond back. So as a condition of this use, there are certain performance standards in the bylaws, and I'm just going to, like I said, just going to go right through them. So starting with A for vibration, there's no continuous, permanent, ongoing, or frequent vibration that is discernible at the property line. So will this use be in violation of that?
No.
Okay. Noise, continuous, permanent, ongoing, or frequent noise in excess of that of a normal conversation must not exist at the property line. And there are hours of excessive noise that is not permitted between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. and will not distract or be a deterrent or diminish other properties, allowed use, or land development.
Yep. I guess just yes,
In other
there will be
words-
no noises.
Right, you don't have.
Yeah, we have
not
quiet
allowed
hours.
parties.
Yep. No parties allowed because it's small. Yeah.
Air emissions for commercial operations is not applicable. Residential use. Injurious or noxious practices, again, this is just normal residential use. Then we've got section 720, additional use standards and site plan design review. You've provided us with the site plan. Looks like you're not making any changes to the property. Multiple site plans. All right. No changes. Okay. General standards, again, these are another list of questions to make sure that there's no adverse impact to the surrounding community and area. Proposed use shall protect against adverse impact on the character of the area. And I'm just going to read the whole list, and if any of them jumps out to anybody, you can just raise your hand. Character of the area, air quality, utilization of renewable energy, natural resources, skip bylaws and ordinances in effect, traffic on roads and highways, community, municipal, and educational facilities. So I've not seen any where any of this is impacted.
We pause for 1 second.
Yes.
Who's Sarah Stipa on Zoom?
I'm sorry?
Sarah's.
Who is Sarah Stipa on Zoom?
Hi, my husband and I are here listening because Jessica had suggested that we listen in because we come before your group a month from now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Charlie.
Okay. All right. So no adverse impacts A through F. That's great. Conditional use preserving the character of town. This is section 722. Again, you're not making any changes. This is a continued use. Don't see any impacts there or any straightforward. All right. Going. Specific standards. All right, now we get into some specifics about the property, and again, go with lighting and glare. Are you adding any exterior lights or doing anything that will change lighting? and
Nope.
be a nuisance to property owners. Safety. Shall minimize physical hazards, whether any potential safety hazards, again, it's not applicable. Commercial parking and loading. So here's one, this is a property with 8 units, and you were showing parking spaces for
4 units and 8 spaces minimum. There's actually
4
more.
units, 8.
Yeah, but there's actually more, like it's very wide and very long, yeah. And that's why the additional photos, they just give you different angles so you can see how far apart the cars are, and just, there's a lot of parking all the way up to both sides. It's a lot of, yeah, thankfully they just go right through, they just go all the way to the end, which is nice. Yeah.
Any questions on the parking? No? Good.
Nope.
All right. Wastewater and potable. All right, so you had an exhibit here that showed that you had a tank that has capacity for 16.
Those were all, I inherited all of those systems, so that's what they were geared for before. I think it was construction in the 1970s. So I think it falls under this specific act that Jessica knows the name of, but I forgot. It's like some sort of act, but it's like a original. We never had any issues with it. I inherited it like that, and it's been fine ever since.
I can speak.
So-
So she's talking about the clean slate law, but that wouldn't really apply here because her permit already has 16 people and she's only renting to 16 people. The wastewater permit clearly says 16 occupants.
Thank you.
All right. Great. That takes us to the end. Any questions? Nope. Good. All right.
So I'm having trouble hearing Diane. I'm sorry. I'm having no trouble hearing our applicant, but where are we right now? I just heard
We are
Jessica.
at the end. We went through the wastewater and potable
Thank
water.
you.
That's all good.
I thought we were at the end.
We are at the end. We are going lightning speed tonight. I don't know.
So just
So
question, or is our applicant all do you have any questions for us?
I actually have a quick question. There are 2 trees that are getting to be a problem. Do I have to get a permit to get rid of those?
No,
Okay.
we do
Okay,
not
so
have
call
any
the tree.
requirements in the town of Wilmington for anything like that. So no, you can do whatever you need. As you heard, if you were here, sometimes it's nice to talk to your neighbors to see how they feel about it, but you do not require any type of permit to cut down trees.
Sure thing.
I'm gonna amend that slightly. If you're doing any work in the right of way, you do need a right of way.
Oh, for right of way, correct, yes. If
It's
it's
on
in
the
the right
side.
of way,
It's on the side that doesn't impact anyone. No one can even see them other than,
if it's on your land, you do not need a permit of any kind.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in. So I am going to close this hearing at 6:13. Thank you, everyone. I do not have any new or old business. Does anyone else have any new or old business? Thank you so much for coming. You, thank you. So, unless we have some new or old business, we can, is someone like to make a motion to adjourn, please?
Make a motion.
Is that Charlie?
This is Charles W. Foster. I would like to make a motion.
Thank you, Charlie. Who's got a second going? I'm not hearing anything. Who's seconding? John? Thank you, John. All in favor, Cheryl, aye.
aye, Diane, aye.
Charles, aye.
Thank you. Okay, Diane, would you be so kind as to shut down the Zoom? Jessica's gonna grab the sign-up sheets, and I'm gonna call Charlie for our continuation here. Okay? Bye.